So, emergent change, we've heard the word emergent quite a lot over the last few days. And one of the key things, I work with a lot of engineers, finance people, technical people, and bringing in something like appreciative inquiry can be quite a challenge to them at times because it's not their normal way of thinking. The green line down here, one of the engineering managers I was working with said, yeah, I go straight down that line. And it's about identify a challenge, a problem, fix it, come up with a design, put it into place, end of story. Okay? So it's just a very technical solution to a technical problem, and that's fine. But as we all know, people aren't quite as simple as machines, and we can't just press the on and off button. Sometimes we need a little bit more. So one of the things that can often happen is organisations take the technical change approach and apply it to people. So you identify what the challenge is, you then design a solution, a way to implement the change, you roll it out, you get some buy-in, everything's going fine, and then strangely you find that people are resisting a bit, so you have to enforce it. And then you have to manage more and more resistance, you get unexpected outcomes, and you end up having to redesign the whole thing. And it's quick to start, but then it gets very slow and messy. Oil companies that I've worked for actually found that when they were building oil rigs, and I know that might be a sensitive subject at the moment, that they went ahead with the design, got very excited about the latest designs they could come up with, and started to build it and got so far, and then about halfway through the project generally, things could start to go wrong. Now this is millions and billions of pounds that we're talking about, and often it was because they hadn't involved some of the key people up front in the design work. So there was a lot of resistance to involving the environmental health and safety people, for example, or the procurement people couldn't buy certain parts that were in the design, so it slowed everything down. So lots of things can happen mid-process that mean you often have to redesign, which is a very expensive process. Now, if you apply that to people, I've certainly been in organisations where this has happened. You get a great idea, it rolls out, it goes so far, and then there's lots of resistance and pushback because lots of things haven't been considered, and then it takes a lot more time to make the change happen. Over here we've got the emergent change process. You identify what the particular challenges or changes that you want to work on, and then you get all the key people that need to be involved together to have conversations. So whoever the key players are, the stakeholders, it might be customers, suppliers, as we talked about yesterday, having a diagonal slice of the organisation so that you've got people from different levels, different departments involved. So you have, one of the terms is a microcosm of the whole, so that it's representative of the bigger system. So if you've got 8 departments, you might have one person from each department at different levels, for example, just so you've got people who represent different parts of the organisation together. And together you explore, and it would be, for example, using appreciative inquiry questions or clean questions, what it is that you want to create together, and what it is the actual challenge is and how you might want to address it. And after these cycles of inclusion, you then discover what you want to create together and start to design something based on all of that. And it's continually including people, and it just is emergent, so it keeps evolving and changing. Okay. So that's the sort of model I use a lot with organisations, and I tend to explain, if they're very technical, the differences between these approaches. And if I find that they're going back into this or this, I can just bring out this diagram and say what's happening. And they go, oh yeah, we're going over here again, aren't we? And sort of bring them back here. This is slower to start, but then you find that you've got a lot more engagement.